In this Palworld FEYBREAK video, I bring you 10 tips and tricks you probably didn't know about. These are for brand new players and even advanced players to the game, and will hopefully one way or another help your progression or reward your knowledge or reward the knowledge you didn't previously have. Let's go. How's it going, guys? My name is DPJ. Now if you do enjoy the video, living a like really helps me out, and if you like what you see and want to see more Palworld, be sure to subscribe. Also, I apologise about my crusty voice. I know I sound even more weird than normal. It's because I got a crazy cold, flu, whatever it is. It's kicking my butt, crazy sore throat, bad chest, you name it, guys. So I'm going to try and get through this as smoothly as possible. So let's go. Okay, so to start, and first up we have the guild chest trick. So this new addition to the game with the FEYBREAK DLC update will make life so much easier on the player. So this guild chest allows you to share items between bases, meaning if you have, say, 3 bases, putting one of these guild chests in each of those 3 bases means that whatever you put in said guild chest at any base can be picked up at your other bases or even used at your other bases. But a trick I'm not seeing many people make use of is the fact that if you have farming bases, i.e. a base set up for crude oil or hexalite, etc, and at said bases you're using transporting pals to store the items for you, well guys, you can actually have your pals, your transporting pals, take those materials straight to the guild chest. So at your farming bases, if you have pals farming that crude oil or that ore or that hexalite, your transporting pals can take it straight into that guild chest. This means that you can stay at your main base and accumulate materials from your working bases without having to go to said farming bases and collect said materials and bring them back to your main. Your pals will take them straight into that guild chest, meaning you can access these from the other side without doing anything. It's a great trick I'm not seeing many players take advantage of. I at the moment have 2 crude oil bases, an ore and coal base and a hexalite base, where all materials from these bases are collected and put in a guild chest, meaning the materials accumulate right here in my main base for me, ready for me to use whenever I need them. Quite a simple trick you need to be taken advantage of. Another great trick you can use a guild chest for is to store food. In doing this, it stops the timer on it. This means if you make tons of said food and don't want it spoiling over time, placing it in that guild chest will stop that timer completely. It's a shame though the pals won't eat at the guild chest, but it is still a useful tip for people who mass make food and don't want it spoiling. Now on the subject of farming bases, although this is an old trick, it still works even after the latest patch, where some people thought it was patched. This is placing 2 oil extractors on a single crude oil node. This basically allows you to double up your earning and farming that crude oil, which I will state shouldn't be anywhere near as time consuming as it is to get, but it is what it is. We have to make do with what we got. So how you do this, you have to be quite precise, and I understand why many people can't get it to work. So how I do it is as follows. I'll put down 1 extractor and bring it from the back of the crude oil node until I see it go blue, meaning I can place it down. Then what I will do, guys, is I will go backwards with it, walk backwards with it until I see it go red, meaning I can't place it down. Then what I'll do is I'll slightly go left or right to see if it flashes blue again. Sometimes this is what happens. If it does flash blue, I'll keep it in place there, guys, and again I'll take it backwards until it goes red again, and then again, guys, I'll move it left and right to see if it flashes blue again. If it does, I just repeat this process over and over until I get to a point, guys, where it's just red no matter what I do. Then I'll bring it 1 frame forward until it goes back blue and I'll place it down. In doing this, I know it's on the absolute border of this node, so when it comes to me placing down a second, I know I'm giving myself the best possibility of making it work in regards to space on said nodes. Now it may not work straight away for you, but if you do keep doing this and using this trick, you will eventually get it. So I will place the first extractor and then slowly walk back and place another. Sometimes it seems like you can't, but moving it slightly left or right does seem to help. As soon as you see that flicker of blue, you know you're in the right spot, but this can only be for like a single frame, so it's like a flash of blue, but as soon as you see it, guys, place it down. I mean, farming oil rigs for crude oil is just long as F, so this is the best way in you getting that crude oil and doubling up on your previously oil farming bases. Okay, so moving on, and for all the breeders out there looking to get the best passives on your pals, there is another way of getting passives other than breeding, and that is through the new NPC vendor of Dr. Brawn. This is a guide that appears in the open world in random spots, but actually allows you once per day to change passives or change a single passive on a PAL. This can be used in a variety of different ways, whether you are looking for a passive to breed into a certain PAL, so you can start at the bottom with this, or if you've bred multiple of the same PAL, trying to land that perfect PAL but one passive is missing on a certain few many of what you have, you can use these to actually just re-roll a random passive. But do keep in mind it is absolutely random. There's no guarantee that you'll roll the passive you don't want and get the one you do want. So I wouldn't use this on those perfect pals if I were you. Only do it on pals you have a spare. Now, as I said with Dr. Brawn, this guy is basically a random spawning dude. You can spawn anywhere where those instances can happen on the map. Now, what I mean by instances are like when you see those dire howls randomly attacking a chickpea or something along those lines, where those random NPC folks are shooting at pals, or we can find those power tamers. There's certain areas on the map where these instances can take place. Luckily for you guys, I have the perfect spot which you can rotate around, giving you the best bet in finding Dr. Brawn. So right here on the map guys, just around the Tower of the Rain Syndicate, you can see I've placed down 5 stars on my map. In these 5 spots are where instances can indeed take place. So I recommend you jotting these down on your map too if you want to try and find this guy, flying around each until you see Dr. Brawn spawning in. Now it took me about 10 minutes to fly between each to see him, but once you do see him guys, it's obviously an NPC in a fully white hoodie cloak, shall we say, but you want to catch him obviously and then place him within your base. You can do this whenever you want to. Remember though, you can only use this once per day, so you can only change one passive per day on said PAL, and that PAL needs to be in your party and you need to be out at your side, so you need to have that PAL out at your side before you can actually change a passive on it, so keep that in mind. Another new vendor who arrived with a FEYBREAK DLC update is the Bounty Trader. This is an NPC who you can trade bounties with. Now these bounties come from you taking down the NPC bosses you can see all over your map, the ones that glow purple, that are actually highlighted on your map. Now these will also spawn or respawn over time, meaning you can farm these as much as you like to get these bounties or these contracts. Now the Bounty Trader vendor can be found within the Dune Shelter area right here on the map. I suggest you go in here guys and capturing this dude and bringing him back to your base so you can easily use and spend these bounty tokens or these contracts whenever you need to. Now this NPC will trade you fruits for them, ancient power manuscripts and much more. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, so moving on, and a power I haven't seen hardly anyone mention, and it's what I'm calling the Spiderman Pal. This new PAL, included with the FEYBREAK DLC update, allows you to basically become a web slinger. So the PAL's name is Tarantris, and you can see exactly where its habitat is on the map. It's on the new FEYBREAK island only. But upon you catching this guys and crafting its saddle, you can ride this thing where it basically allows you to use a grapple hook off this PAL's back. Now I'm not gonna lie, me being at endgame and having a fully kitted out speedster jet wagon, this PAL isn't much use to me, but I may fully upgrade one of these dudes, get the best passives for it, because I do think it could be quite capable of some awesome things, but that's another video for another day. Now with the addition of pouches in FEYBREAK, these basically allow you to upgrade your inventory space. A tip many people don't know is the fact that you can actually wear more than one of these things. Not the same pouch though, so do not waste materials. But you can indeed wear one of each different size and type, allowing you to have 12 or more extra inventory slots. Pretty cool. Now if you're having problems getting to the new oil rigs, obviously because flying across to them means you trigger the anti-air weapons that are at these oil rigs and your flyer just gets absolutely cooked out in midair, what you can do guys is fly up to the barrier if your power stamina allows you to do so, fly above the oil rigs and then just drop down to them off your PAL, and you don't have to worry about your PAL or yourself being taken out. And most of the time if you land on the higher platforms, you don't notify other enemies to your location too. So it's a great way of getting a head start if you're coming to these oil rigs. Now a couple of tips for players out there who can customize their own world settings. I'd recommend you setting your carry weight to a 0 so you can carry unlimited amounts of said materials, etc, etc. It just makes life so much easier. And another setting guys I ain't seen no one talk about is actually changing the meteorite and supply drop slider down to a minimum. What this does is literally spawn in meteors and supply drops every 30 seconds, meaning amazing loot, legendary loot in certain areas, and also amazing pals which come down with those meteors. So yes, definitely take advantage of this if you can and you need those materials. But there we have it guys, 10 tips and tricks for the FEYBREAK DLC update for Palworld. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like really helps out. If you like what you see and want to see more, be sure to subscribe, and hopefully guys, I will see you on that next one.